Hello everybody and welcome back. Good to talk to all of you again today, and today I'm showing you the current work in progress ship, the Worcester. Now please do keep in mind that this is a work in progress ship, so anything I show you can and potentially will change by the time the ship makes it out to the release. But of course, right now I can at least give you kind of an idea of what the ship is like. But before I talk about the ship, because we will get there, and by the way, it has a really funny sounding horn. It sounds like one of those old car horns, toot toot. But there's one other really important thing I want to talk about, which is, folks, a lot of times we, as humans, we say, you know what, I'll do this tomorrow. Oh, I'll go see this person tomorrow. Things like that. And, if you can, don't leave things till tomorrow, because you really, really don't know what happens tomorrow. So if you have a chance and you want to do something, do it today. Don't let it go until tomorrow, because you never know. And the reason I'm saying all this is because for those of you who've been paying attention to the news, there was recently an incident in Toronto where a lunatic decided to take a white van and drive it down the sidewalk of one major street, hitting people as he went. So far, I think the final tally is 10 dead and numerous people injured. And I live in Toronto, and that's a stretch of street that I am incredibly familiar with because it's a place that I have gone to many, many times in my life. And on the particular day that incident happened, it was really, I would say, the first really nice day in Toronto in a very, very long time. The week prior, we had just had like an ice storm, so that was really a nice day. And I had just moved my girlfriend back from school. She was done, so we just moved her back home. And the original plan was right around noonish, we would head to that very section of street, go and have lunch together, go play a little bit of Pokemon Go. I know, don't judge, it's a couple activity. She still plays it, she enjoys it, and I just sort of play it with her. And it's a good couples activity, and we're gonna go have lunch, play a little bit of the game, and generally have a nice day together. Now, I would say, fortunately for us, even though it was a really horrible incident, but for us, we'd been really tired the night before from moving, so we ended up sleeping in a little bit longer than initially planned. Had we not, we would have been along that section of street right around sort of 12:30, and very likely could have been caught up in the incident. It really hits a lot closer to home when, you're like, oh my god, I was planning to be there on that day, and it's just, yeah. So, if you haven't seen a loved one for a while, if you haven't spent time with that person, go spend some time with them. Don't leave it till tomorrow, do it today, because you really don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. Anyways, okay, enough of that somewhat sort of sobering thought for the day, and let's talk about the ship that I'm sure you're all here to hear me talk about, which is the Worcester. And it is, I would say it's a very sort of meme-y ship. This is basically, if you really want to think about it, like a supersized Atlanta at tier 10. For those of you who like the way the Atlanta plays and you really enjoy the Atlanta, I think you're going to enjoy this ship as well. I've never really liked the Atlanta. It just might be a playstyle sort of incompatibility, shall we say. So Worcester for me is not a ship that I would say I'm going to do amazingly well at. Although I will say that the ship is incredibly fun. Now, take nothing away from it, this is a fun ship. So, her strengths, right? She's got some strengths. She's got a sort of very varied toolkit. She's got radar, she's got hydro, she's got defensive AA, and her AA is monstrously strong. This ship's AA is absolutely amazing. I mean, even without AFT, BFT, or manual AA, you're still gonna rip planes out of the sky. Her AA is insane, right? She also has that hydro radar combination that does make her a pretty dangerous ship if she runs into destroyers. She's also got a very, very good rate of fire on her guns, and of course she has HE, which is for those of you who play Atlanta and you get an enemy ship in your range and you start spamming that HE, it is glorious, and the Worcester is no different. This ship is fantastic in those kinds of scenarios. However, I do have to say, from my experience playing with the ship yesterday, the Worcester has its weaknesses, and if you compare it, the closest ship one would compare her to would be the Minotaur. Now, armor layout, citadel placement, the Worcester is going to be a bit better. But I still think the Minotaur is actually, I would say, a better ship when it comes to being able to get yourself out of trouble. The Worcester, as you can tell, is a pretty darn big ship, right? If you put her next to a Des Moines, you'd be like, whoa, this is not a small ship at all. The Minotaur is a little bit smaller, a little bit more compact. The Minotaur also has a couple of little sort of tricks up her sleeve, right? She's got that fantastic acceleration, which allows her to keep up speed as she goes around and turns. She accelerates, decelerates very, very quickly. Minotaur also has that really great heel, right? So Minotaur's got a couple of those things that it's like, you can get yourself into trouble, but you can also get yourself sort of out of trouble. The Worcester doesn't. She gets herself into trouble, and then you have a hell of a time trying to get yourself out of it. Her heel is a regular heel, so nothing spectacular there. She doesn't accelerate particularly quickly, which, by the way, maybe that will be a solution for the ship, is to give her similar-ish to Minotaur. Like, I know they don't want to give her smoke, because they really don't want to have the smoke HG combination, because that is just not what they want. I think that's a pretty cancerous kind of thing. They tried it way back in the day when they were testing it with like the Minotaur, and they were like, nope, this is not what we want to do. So that's why the Minotaur ended up being a sort of like AP only with those like special auto bounce angles. I know they don't want to replicate that rapid fire with smoke with HE combination, so there's no way I see the ship getting smoked, but she does, I feel like, need a little bit of help in this, in that department of being able to get herself out of trouble. And I think maybe they can tweak that little sort of acceleration deceleration thing. But anyways, you're very dependent on islands as the Worcester, as you can tell. You really need to be behind an island and slinging shells over, very much like the way the Atlanta plays. But once you can get into a position like that, you are a monster. As you can tell, this Curvers is not having a good day at all. Just absorbing hits. I mean, it's like not a huge amount of damage, but the rate at which you're able to output those shells, it really quickly builds up, right? With the reload module, you can get the reload speed down to 4 seconds, and if you factor in Adrenaline Rush, you can figure that the ship is able to pump out shells at a really rapid pace. The Worcester's guns, well, they're very similar, again, sort of in style to the Atlanta's guns. Really high arcs, so hitting anything at like long range is very difficult, if not impossible, on a maneuvering target. You're okay if the target is stationary, like, you know, a lot of battleships that try to go bow in or whatever, you're fine on those targets, but cruisers that are maneuvering at range, good luck. Even hitting out to something like, like 16 kilometers, shell flight time is what, 13, 14 seconds? It is. The shells don't go anywhere quickly. But again, the high arcs, they are suitable to that sort of island hugging playstyle. Which again is the sort of the thing when I was talking about that the ship and me are just not super compatible. I don't like that playstyle, so this is not really my kind of ship, but I can definitely see people doing well with it. A couple of other sort of advantage, disadvantage things to talk about. She has not the world's best gun arcs. It takes her 34 degrees to the front in order to get all the guns out, which is requiring you to show a little bit more broadside in a lot of cases, which does make you kind of vulnerable if you want to get like sort of all of your firepower out. And that's why I said it's going to take a sort of a select playstyle to play the ship effectively. There's also going to be certain maps where the ship is going to struggle because you're not going to have that great cover, and it's going to be very, very, very rough. Again, do keep in mind that range, for example, on the ship doesn't really do all that much, right? If you throw on a range module, you can get 19-kilometer range, except it takes the shells forever to actually get there, and you're not hitting anything at those kind of distances. So better to use the reload module and I guess get into those sort of closer, medium-ish distances with island cover. You're pretty much always going to need island cover in the ship, and then start spamming away at maximum Dakka speeds. And it's basically the ship. In a way, it's like Mega Atlanta. That's basically what the Worcester is. So if you like the Atlanta and you want a supersized version for tier 10, I think you're going to be happy with the ship. If you're looking for something really, really challenging and difficult to play and you want to have your skills tested to a limit, okay, yeah, I think this ship is good. Other than that, you might struggle with this ship. One other thing, of course, another sort of weakness is she only has 25mm plating. So Alsace looks at you a little funny. Ouch. Bismarck looks at you a little funny. Ouch. So yeah, islands are your best friend, and like I said, if you're not enjoying that style of play, I would probably say avoid the ship. One other thing though, and this is kind of cool as well, up close and personal, use AP. With the rate of fire that this ship has, and the number of turrets and shells that you can fling out, you can get a lot of damage out very, very quickly. So the Zhao comes out wrong, and didn't have a lot of HP to start with, and didn't even get a chance to get his turrets around, dead, right? You know, a little bit later on, you'll see me engage a lion, and you'll see just how quickly I'm able to take HP away from that lion. And do keep in mind, like I said, she does have that amazing rate of fire, which for some people, if they can utilize it correctly, is going to grant them really great games. Still, the ship does have her disadvantages, right? Like I said, she's got fantastic AA, she's got a lot of utility in terms of her tools, she's got that phenomenal rate of fire, which coupled with AP at close range and HE at battleships, whatever, you are deadly, you are able to get good damage. So she definitely has good, but she also has the not so good, right? The 25mm plating everywhere. Alsace or Bismarck looks at you the wrong way and ouch, right? Never mind the bigger battleships. She does have her flaws in terms of just that not very good maneuverability. She's a big sluggish kind of ship. Doesn't accelerate particularly quickly, doesn't decelerate particularly quickly, and it's challenging to play. She doesn't have like a get out of jail free card in terms of smoke, which by the way is a good idea because smoke plus this ship when the HE spam, no thanks, it's too much. I would say so. That's a good decision by Wargaming. Good call there not to have the smoke thing, but maybe have to give her something else. Like I said, that maybe that great acceleration, right? Or maybe that heal. Maybe give her a nice heal that she can recover from. Something, because she needs something else. She doesn't have torpedoes. So she doesn't have that sort of, hey, can I prevent you from coming out at me at close range? So if there's a battleship, and you, let's say in a Minotaur, in a position like this, there's no way that battleship is going to come and push you because you've got torpedoes. Battleship decides to come out, and you're going to have a salvo of torpedoes on him. The Worcester, it doesn't. It is dependent on its guns and its rate of fire, and that's not enough sometimes, right? So there's definitely pros on the ship, and definitely some very notable cons. So for those of you, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you're looking for that tier 10 Atlanta, supersized Atlanta, then I think you found your ship. If you are like, ooh, that's not really my style of play, and I don't want that style of play, then probably not the kind of ship for you. Now, the Lion decides to come out. I have the AP loaded, very rapid rate of fire, like 3 point something seconds with this many shells. You can tell the damage is quite good. If I was playing a Minotaur, I could have probably been deleted by that salvo fire by that Lion over there, right? Because the Minotaur Citadel sits up quite a bit. But the Worcester's is a bit lower. It's a bit closer to the waterline, and so sometimes you do get more of those sort of like over penetrations and not the Citadel. But she is vulnerable to Citadels, make no mistake. The ship, if a battleship looks at you funny, you can and will eat Citadel hits. The Lion, being a British battleship with basically a replacement dockyard right on its ship, was able to stay alive. Had this been another battleship, it would have been dead, because I would have been able to take him down so quickly. Because if you actually looked at the damage counter, I think I netted something like 40k damage there in a very, very short period of time. All in all, I would say the Worcester has advantages and disadvantages. Can be a fun ship, definitely lots of meme-worthy potential there on this one. But yeah, she definitely has some flaws, which hopefully they will address, and the second iteration or the third iteration of the ship will be better. But we'll have to wait and see, and obviously when that time comes around, I will have a much more detailed video for all of you. Alrighty, that's all I have for you for the Worcester today. Do you look forward to the ship? Do you not look forward to the ship? Are you like super hyped? Are you like, oh my god, they're gonna release another one of these things? Let me know in the comment section below all of your awesome thoughts. Aside from all that, folks, take care of yourselves. Have a really, really good day. Do keep, in mind the thing that I talked about in the beginning. Do the stuff that you've been thinking about doing, but just do them today. And of course, have yourselves a good one, and I will talk to all of you again next time.